I'm going to walk you through a super simplified version of the U.S. Navy Bayes patents for the UFO Bayes patents. And you're going to laugh because we're going to use a bucket of water, some sort of salt. You can use magnesium sulfate, copper sulfate. You can use regular salt, whatever you want to use. And then we're going to take an iron rod, a magnet, and another electrode, or electrodes. I personally used, this was many years ago, I personally used an iron rod as my negative and a copper rod as my positive. You can use whatever fucking rods you want. The goal isn't perfection, okay? This is just an in-home proof of concept, something you can play around with and adapt. You're going to take a 12-volt battery car charger, okay? You're going to hook it up to a 12-volt battery and then run this to this bucket. You're going to create a high-frequency, rotating, electromagnetic homopolar generator that's pulsing at high frequencies because of the battery charger. And this is going to cause some effects. You're going to get a Van de Graaff type effect from the water's own friction. So you're going to build up a static charge. And you're going to get a Tesla primary circuit because of the rotating, pulsing electromagnetic coil. This is Magnetohydrodynamic systems. Not going to say amplification, because if I do, then it's impossible. But what we're going to do is build a Tesla coil. And your secondary of your Tesla coil, it's going to be a DC system. And if you design it correctly, the bottom of your coil is going to go into your water. The top of your coil, you can hook it up to your negative, you can put it in the water, you can test it however you want. The top of your coil is going to create ionic wind that wants to go back into the water. It's going to flow into the water. Okay? Now you have a gyroscopic liquid rotating, and you have a transformer of sorts, and you have ionic wind, which is what they use for lifters. And this is basically the main concepts behind the U.S. Navy Bayes patents and their anti-gravity and their power system that amplifies rotation. If I say Zeldovich, they'll say it's not fast enough. If I say it's a homopolar electromagnetic generator, yada yada, so on and so forth. This also goes into the same concepts as I've been discussing on the reflective amplification of the natural currents of the earth, the ocean, underwater aquifers. All these things have their own currents. This is just going to be a rotating homopolar generator. It's going to be a Faraday saltwater homopolar motor. But you're going to be transferring that energy from point A to point B because it's a transformer too. It's a pulsing DC transformer that is rotating. So you're getting the rotational mass amplification of Faraday, and you're getting a Tesla coil, and you're going to get ionic wind. The goal of this experiment is not to prove over unity, it's not to prove perpetual motion, it's to show the qualities or the system functioning as a whole. So we have the rotating mass, and that rotating mass is transferring energy into a secondary stationary coil. That stationary coil is shooting wind down at the rotating mass, probably in a rotationary manner. So you have a rotating field of ionic wind and a rotating field of electromagnetism, and you have a Tesla coil. I know But I mean, this is the simplest experiment you can do to mimic the top secret Navy pays patents. And if you start to understand and look into electronics and sound amplification, or just high frequencies, and you want to study, this is the tap to understand how gravity works and all this stuff according to the Pays patents anyway. But in your mind, ask yourself, what is actually happening? We have a fluid that's rotating, and that rotation is building up static, and that static is being transferred from your rotating mass into the secondary coil. So we have the amps and the high frequency. All this stuff is being transferred because this static charge is charging the electromagnetic vortex of hydro liquid. So we have an electro-hydrodynamic fluid rotating and pulsating as a primary coil for a transformer. Okay? And this transformer is shooting this energy into the secondary coil. And this secondary coil is, not only is it wirelessly transmitted, you can stick a light bulb up, it's going to light up. It's also shooting ionic wind down into the bucket. Okay? What else can you make it do? I'm just going to throw this out there. It's a multi-functioning system with a simple battery charger, a 12-volt battery, a magnet, a bucket, and a primary or a secondary Tesla coil. You can use a different coil if you want. You can use a Baflar coil. Any type of coil is going to receive some sort of energy. Just like taking a magnet and going like this. It's going to be a transformer. The closer you get, the more energy you get. The higher your frequency, the better energy you're going to get. The better energy transfer you're going to get. Just throwing it out there, man, you know. When I did it, it worked quite well. What happens when you do it?